That means we need, that rate will not be given. That rate we need to find out. Then how do we find out the rate? If we know the procedure, we will come to know what is IRR. See, we will come to know what is IRR. Now read the subsequent part of IRR. See, IRR can be defined as a rate or a discounting rate at which net present value is 0. See, you take 10%, the present value is negative. Positive. In order to reduce the present value, what would you do? Increase the rate or decrease the rate? Let me repeat the question. You have worked out IRR. You have worked out NPV. Let me take you to this slide. Just concentrate on X only. Your NPV is positive by 1,01,250. You want to reduce it to 0 or you want to make it negative. What would you do? Under what condition will this be negative? Look at these figures. At 10%, it is 0.909. What will this figure be at 15%? More than 0.9 or less than 0.9? If you have understood the concept of present value, your answer should come within a second. I'll repeat the question. You are discounting the inflows at 10%. If inflows are discounted at 20%, this factor 0.9 will be more than 0.9 or less than 0.9.
So less than 0.9.
You all agree it will be less than 0.9? Okay, you are correct, because as the percentage increases, the value decreases. Similarly, if time increases, the value decreases. So you are right, its value will be less. So the chances are, if you discount them at 20%, this sum will be less or more. This total will also be less. If this total is also less, and which is subtracted from 5 lakh, the possibility is, when you take this total and subtract 5 lakh from this possibility is that this figure may be negative. This figure may be negative. So now come back to the slide at which we were discussing. Based on IRR defined as a rate at which NPV is 0. So that means we need to find out a rate. We need to increase the rate in case our present value is currently positive. We need to increase the rate. If currently our present value is negative, we need to decrease the rate. And by trial and error, manually if we are doing, by trial and error, we will reach a rate at which the present value will be exactly equal to 0. In this way, how can IRR be explained once again? Or in other words, one can say that IRR is a rate at which sum of discounted inflow will be equal to sum of discounted outflow. I mean, it means the same thing. Now the question before us is, how do we arrive at a rate at which NPV will be 0? These steps I have explained in the next slide. So maybe after explanation or 2-3 slides, you will be able to understand it. Look at the steps that are involved. Ask me if there is any problem in any step, and then I'll show them also. I will illustrate them also. What is the first step? Prepare a table with 6 rows, as many columns as there are life in a project. No, it's opposite. I have written wrong. Prepare a table with 6 columns, because in rows we write life. Prepare a table with 6 columns and as many rows as life of project. If the project has 7 years life, we will have 7 rows, 10 years life, 10 rows, 20 years life, 20 rows, and there will be 6 columns. In column number 1, write years. It is nothing new. In earlier cases also we have written same thing. In column 2, we write inflow or outflow. Same thing we did in the previous slides also. In column number 3, we write discounting factor. Here we can write any discounting factor. When I am saying any, I will tell you how to reach approximate. Any could be 1%, any could be 100%. So your question could be genuine. How do we decide this position? This part I'll explain to you later. But first of all, assume a rate. Let us say 10%, 12%. Just hold on for a minute. I'm sorry for the interruption. We join once again. So in column number, we just once again, people are still joining. What is it? Yes. All right. So we write any rate. Then we follow the same procedure that we followed earlier, that we multiply and we take a total. When we reach a total, the total can be positive or negative. When this is the total can be, the answer can be 0 also. If 0, then nothing like it. But theoretically speaking, it is least likely. The probability is very, very low that the answer could be 0. Answer could be positive or negative. So 3 steps we have taken. These steps are nothing but a repetition what we have done earlier. Now we will take one more step. If suppose it is positive, then we will write a higher rate in the next column. That means if earlier it was 10, we may write 15, we may write 20. And if the figure was negative, we will write a lower rate, just the opposite one. And once again total it. This time our total could be different with what we obtained here. The idea is we are trying to find out 2 rates at which NPV is positive, and at another rate NPV is a negative. The moment we have found out 2 rates, at one it was negative, at second it was positive, then our problem is solved. We will use a simple mathematical formula and accordingly we will find out the approximate IRR. What do we do? Once you have found out 2 sets of NPVs, one is negative, one is positive, you can interpolate them using the formula which I have given below. I will illustrate it in the next slide. But before I move on to the next slide, until this stage, if any question is there in your mind, please seek a clarification from me. Yes, any clarification you need, or shall I show you the illustration, then you will ask. You should respond to the question so that at least we save some time. If I keep on waiting for your answer, it is a loss of your time.
So show the illustration first.
Okay. Now see the illustration. These are the steps I explained to you in the slide. You make several columns and you make these rows. We have entered same inflows and outflows. We have assumed present value at 10%, and this is our gross present value, that is at 10%. That is 6,01,250, same thing, and present value is positive. What was the next step? That we wanted another rate at which this value is, or this value becomes negative. So we tried at 19%. Why? Suppose we try it at not 19% and we try it at 15%. Suppose we try it at 15%. Can anyone think of any reason why am I trying it at 19%? Why not at 17? Why not at 15? Why not at 12? Because it is 10. Higher than 10 could be any figure, 10%, 11%, 20, 12%. Why is it not being tried at 12 or 15 but at 19? Is there any logic one can think? Okay, leave it. No issue. So we have tried it at 19% and our present value is negative by 8,500. So part of our problem has been solved. We have got 2 present values. One is positive, one is negative. Before I enter the formula, let me know if you need any explanation in this table up to this system, up to this stage. Up to this stage, If there is any question that you have in your mind, you can ask me. It is exactly same thing that we have been doing for the past 2-3 days. This is what we did in earlier case also. So we have got two figures, negative and positive. I'll go back to the slide where steps were explained. We have prepared a table. We have entered inflows and outflows. We have assumed a figure at 10%. Any figure could be assumed. At that figure, it was positive. Then we moved on to another table, this one factor. At that factor, it became negative. So our purpose is served. That means our rate will be more than 10%, but will be less than 19%. And what will be that exact rate? For that, we need to enter the formula. Look at the formula given in this. Low IRR is equal to lower rate. So what is the lower rate in our example? 10% is 10%. Plus, within bracket, higher present value. What was the higher present value? 1,01,250 something. Minus investment. How much was the investment?
5 lakhs.
5 lakh. It is to be divided by higher present value minus lower present value. We have higher present value minus lower present value. Higher present value remains the same and lower present value is 8,500. This one 8,500. And I have entered the formula. 10% was our minimum, 10% was our lower discounting factor. It was our higher present value. It is our investment. Higher present value minus lower present value. This is lower present value. Then multiplied by difference in rate. Difference in rate is 9%. 10 and 19. Difference is 9%. So our IRR by this formula comes at 18.30%. 18.3. Before I proceed, look at the formula. If you are satisfied, I'll explain to you more. Our answer is 18.30%. Now I'll explain what is this 18.30% and what will be the next basis. In all we are discussing 5 bases: 1 meaning, 2nd calculation, 3rd decision, 4th merit, 5th demerit. 2 I have explained to you. Meaning I have explained, calculations I have explained. Now decision. If we have several projects, which one shall we accept? The one which has higher IRR. The one which has higher IRR. Now what is the meaning of IRR? Explained to you earlier. With this, we can further explain, we can further improve our meaning or explanation of the word IRR. What more can be said about IRR after looking at this, after looking at this calculation? What more can be said about IRR? IRR gives you a reference point. It gives you that at this rate, your present value will be 0. Means neither the funds of a shareholder will be eroded in case you are able to borrow money at this rate. This is your maximum discounting rate which you can afford, at which you can afford to borrow money, because at this rate your NPV will be 0. If your cost is less than this, you will get positive NPV, means addition in the shareholders' wealth. And if your cost is more than this, there will be negative NPV. That means erosion in the wealth of shareholder. So IRR can be called as a break-even rate. What did we call IRR before? IRR is a rate, a discounting rate at which NPV is 0. Now what we can say, IRR is a break-even rate. At this rate, your NPV is 0. Means if you borrow money at this rate, your project will neither result in the creation of wealth, nor it will result in erosion of wealth. If you borrow for your project, if you finance your project at any rate less than this means positive present value, and positive present value means creation of wealth, maximization of wealth. So you should, number one, be clear about meaning, and at this stage more concentration is being paid on the calculation part. So look at the calculations once again and tell me if you have not understood any step of the calculation. Any question here?
No, sir.
See, I am referring it to each one of you. You will understand all these things only and only if you practice it several times. I have provided you this data. Let us say, let me go to this data, X, Y, and Z. For X, I have calculated the example that you saw in the slide that we were discussing. IRR has been calculated. Now try on your own and calculate IRR for Y and also calculate IRR for Z. If you are doing it with sufficient early armed, maybe you are having calculator that naturally you should have, it should take you about somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes. If you can do it faster, nothing like it. So calculate later on, if not now, later on, IRR of project Y and also IRR of project Z. If you need to know still, I am available to clarify to you. Once we have done, then only once I have explained, then I'll explain you more about IRR. You see a figure mentioned here in this column where cursor is blinking. IRR at the rate of system 17.2%. If I change its color to green, IRR at the rate of system. If we work out IRR of this data using Excel function, the answer is 17.2867%. Why is it that these two answers differ so drastically? In one case it is 18.3, in one case it is 17.28. Almost 1% difference. Why is it? Any guesses? If you apply your mind little bit on mathematics and on approximation, you will be able to get its answer. Let me explain. What is the variation between these two percentages? 10 and 19. So we are taking these two figures at 10 and 19. There is a gap of 19%. Closer is the gap, lesser is the gap between two figures at which we try. Accuracy will be there in our answer if we are doing it manually. See, suppose you have tried it 19%, theoretically assume that it was once again positive. Then you could have tried it at 20%. If it was once again positive, you could have tried it at 21%. Lot of hits and trial and error were needed. Therefore, if you try at two rates which are closer to each other and you get one positive, one negative, there is a possibility that your answer will be correct or very close to the correct, up to 2, 3 or 4 decimal places. What I am asking you here, try this illustration again using lower rate as 18% and higher rate as 19%. Change it to from 18 to 17%. Use lower rate as 17%, higher rate as 19% and text me correct IRR up to 4 decimal places. Then, just one second, up to 4 decimal places. Then also, just one second. Also, find out for Y and Z. Also find out IRR for Y and Z. Also find out IRR for Y and Z. And then post your answers in the Google Classroom. So what happens? Unfortunately, one of you or two of you can calculate, and people will copy and paste. In this process, they are cheating themselves. They will not learn. Usually, I'll tell you here at this stage itself, usually in conventional form of organization, if you are asked to answer a question or illustrate the concept of IRR, most people complain that the time allotted for solving the question paper was less. Their complaint is not genuine because earlier they have not practiced it. If you practice it in one go, in the first attempt, you may take 15 minutes. By the time you solve 2-3 problems, this time will be reduced to 10 minutes. So it is expected that you would have solved several times IRR, NPV, and everything that has been discussed so far and will be discussed subsequently also. And then the time frame given was adequate. Now I'll proceed, explain to you its advantages and disadvantages, its merits and demerits. Before I do that, still ask me if you have not understood any part of it.
So there is equation 18.30%. So before this 30, sorry, sir, there is multiply by 9. Sir, why this is 9? Is it 19?
No, 9. I'm taking. Let me. What is the formula? Difference between two rates. Difference between two rates.
Sir, I understand.
No problem. Any other
19 minus
question?
10.
Okay. Any other question?
Sir, I have one clarification. As you have
Please.
taught us safety margin in break-even analysis, so
Okay.
can we call it IRR as safety margin for investment purpose?
For investment purpose, it cannot be called safety margin. It can be called as break-even. Safety margin will be any rate which is beyond IRR. See, IRR now becomes a reference rate. 18.3% is a reference that is below this. It is a cost at which you are borrowing funds. So below this, there is a safety margin, above, positive safety margin. Above this, there is a negative safety margin. Suppose the funds are available or the project costs you 20%. So it is negative safety margin. Suppose the project costs you 15%. So there is 3.30% positive safety margin. With the concept of IRR, you can, with the concept of break-even, it can be expended in, positive or negative safety margin. Is that clear or you need something more?
No, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? In my previous sessions, I was referring to your knowledge or your classes that you attended in spreadsheet modeling. I'm sure you're all comfortable using Microsoft Excel. See, what I expected that you should have at least tried calculating payback period or average rate of return using Excel. If you have not tried, do it now. See, open your Excel, enter the data and see how it is calculated. I'll explain to you, no doubt about it later, but at least you try on your own till such time we reach that stage. We'll reach that stage soon, inshallah. Okay, before now I move on to merits and demerits. If you still have any question, ask me, otherwise I'll explain to you merits. Now, interpretation of IRR, I have written at IRR, that is at this rate, neither wealth will be maximized nor eroded. If the firm earns more return than this, wealth will be maximized, and if the firm earns less than this, its funds will be eroded. Merits. It is a reference rate based on which all calculations are performed. What was the limitation of NPV? One of you asked me a question, why 10%, why not more? In case of NPV, we have no idea about the rate, at which rate should we discount. So in IRR has provided us that rate. It is a reference rate based on which we can discount. Second one is, it is widely used. Lot of people, lot of firms use this rate, IRR in their calculation. Practically, you can say no firm will be found which is not using IRR as a method for appraisal of its project. Whether it approves the project based on this or it takes another method, it uses another method, is a different matter, but for the purpose of evaluation, it certainly takes into consideration IRR. You will find when you search the material either in books or on internet or on net, you will find that the firms may use several methods for the evaluation: payback period, average rate of return, NPV, IRR, etc., etc. But for decision making, it may not use. It will use only one, either this or that, or any of the it. Therefore, it is necessary to know what are the various methods which firms are using, which one is popular for calculation and which one is popular for taking decision. Let me ask you a question. You have an investment proposal at this stage, at your as a stage of your student life. You have an investment proposal. There are two projects. You have to choose one. IRR suggests A and payback suggests B. Which one will you go for? A or B? Let me post this question and then see how do you react. Has everybody entered the name, roll number?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I'm typing it out as a student, you have two proposal. In A proposal A is better as per payback period method, and proposal B is better as per IRR method. I have written it. I am just correcting the spelling and I'll post it as per IRR method. Just 1 second, it's wrongly written. MET method. Which one will you go for? Which one will you accept? The question I have posted. Read the question 2 times at least, and then only write your answer as A and B. But make sure before you type A or B, you should be convinced, you should be able to justify that. You should be able to justify that. If you have thought of it, start writing your answers A or B only. Either write A or write a B. Has everybody written? Shall I start discussion? Let me assume that all of you have answered it. No, there was no option called cannot say. If you are asked a question in the examination and you write an answer, cannot say, what will happen? or you must have some plausible reason or explanation for writing cannot say. If you can write that reason, I'll accept this answer. Yes, Nazim. If you write a reason, okay, because of this I cannot say. Okay, even if those of you have not written, write it now. We'll move on to our discussion. Now it's demerits. It's demerits. At least manually calculation, in case of manual calculation, it is tedious, it is a bit difficult, because you will be able to, you will have to, try it out at various rates and then only you will arrive at an answer. So it appears to be tedious or difficult calculation. But again, I maintain that this is all because of the, otherwise through, computer, it can be calculated immediately. So this is one limitation. Second, very, very important limitation is its reinvestment assumption. I can explain what is this, but try to, once again I'm saying, if you are clear on the compounding concept and present value concept, this reinvestment assumption should be clear. That is, IRR will be correct only if this assumption is true. If the assumption is true, IRR will be considered as true. If the assumption is not correct, IRR will also not be correct. When IRR calculation is incorrect, our decision will be incorrect. So what is this reinvestment assumption? Can you think over it, or you need some help? Let me give you some clue. Let me give you just one step of help. How do you calculate compound interest? You all know how to calculate compound interest?
Yes, sir.
Okay, try to apply the same concept and tell me what is the reinvestment assumption. It will guide you to arrive at the correct explanation of reinvestment assumption. Yes. Okay. Like compounding interest, you receive a particular amount at the end of 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. If it is invested on compound interest, that amount, that is interest plus principal, will be true only if every time the principal that you have, interest that you have earned, is reinvested with the principal, isn't it? Only then your amount will be correct. The amount is equal to this one, principal plus interest. So if you do not invest interest of a year, you take away that interest, you consume that interest, will you be able to arrive at the correct amount? Correct amount will not be possible, because the assumption is that whatever interest is received in year 1, it will be reinvested in year 2. Whatever is received in first and second year, the total will be reinvested for year 3. Similarly, year 4, year 5, year 6. Even if a rupee is taken out or consumed or used somewhere, our final calculations will be incorrect. Same is true for reinvestment assumption in case of IRR also. That is, inflows of first year should be reinvested at IRR. At which rate? At IRR for second year. In second year, principal of second year, that is inflow of second year, plus the interest that was earned in first year, or the return that you got in first year, both should be reinvested once again at the same rate. Let me take you to the data. IRR we calculated is 18%. So it will be true only in one condition, the condition I am explaining you now, that is the reinvestment assumption. You have received 1 lakh inflows in first year. What you should do, or what is assumed to have been done, these inflows should have been invested at 18.3% for 1 year. For remaining years, when you come to second year, this plus interest earned plus this amount should be reinvested for the remaining life of project, that is for 3 years. Then in third year, when you arrive at third year, your inflow first year plus interest, your inflow on second year plus interest that you have already earned. Put together, all the amount should be reinvested at 18.3% for remaining 2 years. Like this, if you do, only then the IRR calculations will be correct. Inflows along with interest or along with return should be reinvested at a particular rate for the remaining life of project. What is that particular rate? Rate is 18.3%. Is this clear now? Or you need more explanation? What we have understood out of it? Is the reinvestment assumption or meaning of reinvestment clear or not?
Yes, sir.
And try to remember it. Try to remember it using the concept of compound interest. I need not explain compound interest because it is something which is very much clear to every one of you. The concept is exactly opposite when we come to the net present value concept or present value discounting factors. So remembering that, or maybe relating it to the compound interest, you will be able to recollect it, that the inflows of the previous years plus interest earned should be invested at IRR for how many years? Up to remaining life of the project. Similarly, interest of subsequent years plus inflows should once again be reinvested at IRR up to the remaining subsequent life of the project. Having understood this, tell me, is it a realistic assumption or unrealistic? The assumption is realistic or unrealistic?
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic. All right. If the assumption is unrealistic, then why do we say that IRR is the most? See, our decision is based on IRR, and the calculation of IRR appears to be unrealistic. We also say that IRR is one of the most popular methods. Don't you think there is a contradiction in all these statements? There are contradictions in these statements or not? There are contradictions or not? Then how do we address these issues? When we have said, I'll repeat, when we have said that IRR is the most popular method, I have explained to you the meaning of IRR. I have explained to you the calculations of IRR. Having explained this and having shared with you the assumption. Acha, before we proceed, let me know, do you agree with the assumption? If the assumption is not there, will this still be true or not? If we ignore the assumption, shall we have a correct IRR or shall we have the correct this thing or not? So these are the things which you will not find much mentioned in the books. Therefore, I wish to attend maximum time on such things. What is your understanding or what is your opinion? All right. If not now, think subsequently, think later and come back to me. Okay, this part we'll discuss later. The next part we will be discussing later, which I saw in the slides. Let me check if there is anything more required. No, nothing more is required. this slide I explained to you yesterday. Do you need any clarification in this slide? Do you need any clarification in this slide? I have not received any question from anyone. It will be received only if you go through it and read it once again, which you have not done. Anyhow, our discussion on the fourth method of calculating, fourth method of project appraisal is over. That is IRR. We are left with some more limitations of IRR that I will cover tomorrow. We will also discuss one more method of project appraisal known as profitability index method. This method is nothing but an extension of a present value method, and then we will conclude our discussion on unit 3. Usually I take 7 to 8 classes. This time around, because no calculations are being made on the board, so we are being a bit faster. Otherwise, when you make these calculations on the board, it consumes a lot of time, and sometimes even exercise is also attempted in the class, which we are avoiding here, because you may do it on your own, but that will be a waste of your time. So we would like to spend more time on the discussion and question answer sessions. If you have no question on this one, this slide, you still can ask some questions, and otherwise we'll close the class in another 2-3 minutes. Yes. I have given you a few assignments. For example, here you will need to calculate IRR of project X and Y. All I will post it in the Google Classroom so that you can consider it as a assignment given, and you may be turned in, or you may be evaluated. Naturally, evaluation will be done by other teachers. I'll just make sure that you are submitting. What is happening here, bhai? Either somebody is making this noise or it is natural. Any question from your side, or should I close? Unlike that of accounting, there are lesser participants in this class, less number of students. Earlier, the attendance used to be close to 85, 82, 83, up to 85, sometimes more also. But here I see it is not exceeding 65. Anyhow, it's people's choice. Any question from you? If not, then you can leave the meeting.